more emotionally intelligent, right? So how can we do that if we don't really dig into ourselves and who we are and what we're about, what we want, and where we're going? So first I want to, we need to really get real, not just real estate, but we need to get real with ourselves, right? So I'm teaching on the law of modeling. And for those of you who don't know me, which you all do, I'm going to give you a little background of myself and how I got to be standing up here as a leader, somebody in this big organization, you amazing people. We have so many amazing people in RE/MAX Champions. For me to be up here talking about something to teach you guys is truly an honor for me. So for those of you that may not know my background, I've been in real estate for 10 years. I am a broker associate at the RE/MAX Champions Ontario office. And back in my early 20s, actually, I was typing home inspection reports for a home inspector, a good friend of mine who started his own home inspection company. And he was like, you should get into real estate. You'll be so good and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't do that. I don't know anything about real estate. I'm not going to do that. So I didn't get back in. I didn't get into real estate in my early 20s. But let's fast forward to 15 years after that. 15 years after that, I had my cousin's husband was in real estate. He's like, you should get in real estate. I was actually a stay-at-home mom at that time. I had my son, and I thought I had everything I ever wanted. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I wanted to make sure I was with my son all the time. I didn't need anything else. I did not need anything else. So he started telling me I should get into real estate, and I was just like, I don't know. And at the time, a friend of mine was selling Cookie Lee jewelry. Does anybody remember Cookie Lee jewelry?
Oh, yes.
So she was like, join my team. I need people to get on my team and so forth. And you can do it from home. You sell at home. And I'm like, okay, fine. I'll do you the favor and I'll jump on your team. So I jumped on her team and I quickly grew my own team without even really trying to do it. I was just doing her a favor. She needed somebody to jump on her team. So I started going to Cookie Lee conventions and learning from Cookie Lee herself. She was my first mentor, my first model, so to speak. So the purpose of that story is just to give you a little background on how the law of modeling has helped me grow in my own personal and professional career. So emotional intelligence. I want to touch a little bit on what is emotional intelligence. It's the capacity to be aware of, control, and express one's emotions, and to handle interpersonal relationships judiciously and empathetically. Emotional intelligence is the key to both personal and professional success. So we really, again, need to get real with ourselves, dig into ourselves, and become more emotionally intelligent. So I want to touch on the 5 elements of emotional intelligence. The first one is self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to tune into your own feelings, thoughts, and actions. When people are self-aware, they understand their strengths and their challenges, and know what helps them thrive. They also understand how they see themselves may be different from how others see us. So how many of you guys feel like you are aware of yourself, of your strengths and your weaknesses? And do you see yourself, do you ever have someone tell you something about yourself that you don't see yourself that way? Mm-hmm. Because I do. Mm-hmm. All the time, people tell me things, about me that I'm like, that's not me. But when more people are telling you that, I guess it must be you, but you just don't see yourself that way. The next thing to be the element of emotional intelligence is self-regulation. What is self-regulation? It is what allows us to feel one way but act another. So for example, hi James. He's like, so
you're right, James.
Yeah.
No, take some time.
way, but we act another. For example, when we get up in the morning and we don't want to get up in the morning, we don't want to go door knocking, we don't want to make those calls, we don't want to, but we do, because we're self-regulated. We're regulating what we know we have to do to reach our goals, whatever it is that we're going after. All of our goals are different. Success is different for everyone, right? So doing what we don't want to do is basically self-regulation. And then the next one is motivation. Of course, we all know, we have a definition of motivation, but Daniel Goleman, he's the one who developed the concept of emotional intelligence in the mid-90s. He identified 4 elements that make up motivation: our personal drive to improve and achieve, commitment to our goals, initiative or readiness to act on opportunities, as well as optimism and resilience. So we must have that motivation. Empathy is commonly described as a feeling of a person's imagining himself in someone else's shoes. So I think empathy is really something when we're working with our buyers and sellers, we have to have that. We have to know what they're going through. And we have to be able to put ourselves in their shoes to be able to guide them and for them to trust us as well, because we understand where they're coming from and what they're going through. If it's a divorce, if it's a probate, if it's a trust, if it's just a regular sale. People are nervous and scared, so we need to be empathetic to that. And the last one is social skills. Social skills are the emotional intelligence skills to properly manage one's and others' emotions. So we need to be able to manage our emotions and their emotions. We need to be able to handle those, because not all our clients are going to be nice, right? They're going to have all these emotions going through, and we need to be able to have the social skills to handle whatever it is that they're throwing at us. So many people get into real estate thinking, because I did. I was a stay-at-home mom, like I told you guys. I was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to get into real estate. I could do it from home, and I'm going to be successful, and it's all, I don't need anybody else. It's a job you do for yourself, right? So many people get into real estate. They believe that they can make it on their own by themselves. Did you get into real estate for that? Answer that question for yourself. You don't have to answer to me, but is it something that you're like, I can do on my own time, whenever I want? All those things, all that freedom that we believe that we were going to have, right? Like I believed, I was like, make my own schedule, go on vacations, do all these things, But are you happy? Are you happy on your own? Is your business growing the way you want it to grow? How long have you been in real estate? And has it grown throughout that time? Has your business grown? Do you see somebody in your organization that you want to be like? Someone who's, do you want to be a Jennifer Puglisi? Do you want to be a Sonia Orozco? Do you want to be, Jennifer Lucero? Do you want to be, who do you want to be? Do you want to be up here? Do you not want to be up here? Do you want to produce 4 deals a year or 10 deals a year, 25 deals a year? Whatever it is that you want to do, you have to model that person. That is the law of modeling. You have to model that person that you see. I want what they did to get to where they are, whatever that is. So whom do you follow? So the criteria of a worthy model is a worthy example. We become like the people we admire. For that reason, we should take great care when determining which people we ask to mentor us. They must not only display professional excellence and possess a skill set from which we can learn, they must also demonstrate character worthy of emulating. That to me is so super important, because if your mentor or whoever you're modeling doesn't have the character that aligns with your values, you're not going to take anything from them. You're not going to learn from them, because most likely you're not going to respect them for who they are. The next thing is that person needs to be available for us to be able to observe our mentors up close and see what they do. We must have some contact with them. For us to be actively mentored, we must have time with people to ask questions, to learn from their answers. We must be in their presence. That is the key to that right there, available. You also have to show up. You have to be there to be in the presence of whoever it is that you're mentoring with. And we all mentor different ways. And a lot of us start by reading books, watching podcasts, listening to podcasts. But when you, even getting coaching, those people were not really, if you get coaching from, let's say, Tom Ferry or Club Wealth or whatever coaching companies are out there, you're not going to be face-to-face with those people most likely, unless it's on Zoom or something like that. But they have to be available for you regardless. So that when you're looking for a mentor, make sure they're available to truly mentor you. Of course, a worthy model needs to have proven experience. So the farther you go in the pursuit of your potential, the more new ground you will have to break. How do you figure out how to proceed? As the Chinese proverb says, to know the road ahead is to ask those coming back. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Whoever you're mentoring at, they have to be somewhere that you haven't gotten yet, so they can show you how to get there. And they must possess wisdom. Wise people often use just a few words to help us learn and develop. They open our eyes to worlds we might not have otherwise seen without their help. They help us navigate difficult situations. They help us to see opportunities we would otherwise miss. They make us wiser than our years and our experience. So this is also pretty self-explanatory. Somebody who, knows how to handle situations. When we're talking about real estate, when we're talking about our contracts or negotiating, whoever's mentoring us needs to know how to guide you during those tough times, right? Because no transaction is the same. Everything has something, very rarely do we have the smooth transaction that goes, you're always learning something. So your mentor has to possess the wisdom to be able to take you through that transaction when we're talking about real estate. And the next criteria of a worthy model is someone who provides friendship and support. Good mentors provide friendship and support, unselfishly working to help you reach your potential. Great things happen whenever we stop seeing ourselves as God's gift to others and begin seeing others as God's gift to us. So friendship and support is super important because you have to know that that person cares about you and they're there to support you. And generally, your mentor puts you above themselves. A lot of times they'll take care of you before they take care of their own business, their own things that they have to do. And friendship and support makes us feel cared about. And of course, we're able to receive and be more receptive to whatever our mentor is teaching us. And the last one is a coach. So I found this really interesting, and of course it's in the book. It's a coach who makes a difference in people's lives. Kevin Hall's book, Aspire, says that the word is derived from a horse-drawn coaches that were developed in the town of Coach in the 15th century, originally used to transport royalty. So if you had a coach, you knew you would end up at your desired location. So you're modeling after a coach. The coach is going to take you to where you want to go. And when you're coaching and mentoring, think of yourself as royalty. That person's taking you to where you want to go. Like, where do you want to go? Do you want to do the 10 transactions a year? Do you want to do the 25 transactions a year? Do you want to build a team? Do you want to, whatever it is, that coach is going to take you to your destination. That's amazing. That to me, that's like, hey, let's go, So speaking of coaches, my first real coach in real estate, her name is Anusha, and she was with KW Covina. When I first got into real estate, I was working on my own at a small little brokerage. And then I realized that there was no coaching, there was no mentoring there. So I went to KW. I saw Anusha from afar, and I was like, hey, I like her style. I like her leadership. I want to be like her. I want to be her, or something about her. I was drawn to her. But at that time, I was only in real estate for about a year. She didn't really, she didn't pay no mind to me, really. I was, a new real estate agent. She was a broker owner. She had, she just had no interest in me. And I wasn't there yet. I wasn't there to be able to coach under her. So I after that, I actually went to a flat fee brokerage because I'm like, why am I paying all these dues? And I'm sure we've all felt that at some point or another. Like, why am I paying these dues? I'm not getting anything out of it. So I was looking at my numbers this morning throughout my career, and you could totally tell when I was mentored and when I was not. When I was working at home, in my own office, nobody talking to me. I hadn't learned much in the real estate business. It was more just relationship building, of course, and referrals. My business was built on referrals. And I told myself, I'm just going to stay right here and do what I'm going to do. The only way I'll move is if someone big in the industry came after me to recruit me. And they have to come for me. I'm not looking for them. I thought, I'm here, I'm doing my thing, I'm producing, 6 to 10 deals. I'm good, I'm good. And lo and behold, in 2018, I get a phone call. It's from Anusha. I'm like, what? Like I was really, truly taken back. And she was like, I want you to come back to KW Covina. At the time, I was at Realty Masters. And I want you to come back. And even throughout the time when I was at home, I would reach out to other agents. They were my mentors too. They just weren't a big role. But I would reach out. Tina Marie was somebody who really helped me in the beginning of my career. And other agents that I would reach out to just like to get advice from and so forth. And that's what we should be doing to grow our business. You should reach out to other agents, see how they do it. What is their thought process on whatever scenario you're in? So anyway, she calls me in 2018, says, I want you to come back. I'm going to coach you personally. I'm like, really? Well, okay then. I'm going to go back because I had already told myself that when somebody calls me, if somebody calls me, I'm going. I live in Fontana. Her office is in West Covina, but I did it. And at that time, honestly, I was personally not in a very good place. I had been staying home with my son. I've been working, working my business, but on a personal level, I wasn't really in a good place. So I get to KW Covina, and she starts coaching me, but it's not about real estate. She's coaching me personally. She makes me start digging in. And we met once a week, and she had stuff for me every week. Sometimes she's like, you go on a hike. You go write in your journal. You go do, she had personal development for me. It was nothing else. Not real estate. She says, you know how to sell real estate. You know how to talk to people. That's not your issue. You need to dig in deep. And oh my God, that was it was thankful. I'm so thankful for her. I still talk to her today. Just the other day, she'll always reach out to me, and we still talk. And I really, truly am thankful for her. So she was the coach for me. And when we talk about 5 common characteristics of a good coach, good coaches, of course, care for the people they coach. They observe their attitudes and behavior and performance. They align them with their strengths for peak performance. Anusha did that for me. She put me in leadership. I was on the ALC at Keller Williams. I was the social director. I don't know why, but she had me teaching, getting all our social activities together. They communicate and give feedback about your performance. They help you improve your lives and performance. So when you're looking for that model, someone to model after, someone to coach you, someone to get you to where you want to go, these are the 5 common characteristics of a good coach. So after, I was at Keller Williams for about 3 years. I had grown personally tremendously, and I knew what I wanted. I was like, okay, now my next thing is I want my broker's license, and I want to buy a property, and I want to make it an Airbnb. And I had a vision now. Before, my vision was I'm going to stay at home, take care of my son, and live my life. Now I had a vision. Like, okay, what do I do next? And Nusha decided to move. So I'm like, okay, well, there's no leader here. I had a transaction actually. So of course, you all know I work side by side with Sonia. So I can't teach this class without talking about that experience too. So I find Sonia, I'm doing social media myself, I'm doing videos. I come across Sonia on Facebook, and Remax Champions Terry was trying to recruit me for a couple of years already. I'm like, no, it's okay, I'm good. Come across Sonia's on Facebook. I'm like, oh, she does social media. Oh, that's what I'm doing. Oh, she has an Airbnb at, Bullhead. That's what I want to do. Oh, she's a broker. Oh, she's opening a new office in Ontario. So here I'm thinking, like, what is my next move? Where do I want to go next? So, of course, I meet with Sonia, and the rest is history. And we're done. No, I'm kidding. So of course I meet with Sonia, and we're a good fit. We're like, okay, this is what I want to do next. So I come to Remax Ontario, and to be honest with you, I never thought that I would be a Remax agent. I always looked at Remax agents as, the best of the best, the most professional. I'm just not going to get, that's just not for me, So here I come to Remax. I'm like, oh shoot, here I am at Remax, and you can tell in my numbers. No, we're not talking about numbers per se, because I want this to be more about your personal development and modeling after somebody that you want to be like, or you want your business to be like. But my numbers have grown tremendously in the last 3 years because of making these conscious decisions to follow a model that fits what I wanted, to fits what I was doing or what I was hoping to do. I still have more to do, but I'm working on that. But to be up here, like I said earlier, maybe some of you weren't here, to be up here teaching you Remax agents, Remax staff is such an honor to me. It's kind of like surreal to me, because if we go back to what I said when I saw Nusha, she was teaching and she was influencing and inspiring, and okay, I am that person for some agents. I see that now. They tell me that. They call me, they tell me, and I'm like, what? Me? Like me? But that is the power of the law of modeling, because I modeled after people that I wanted to be like. Going back to emotional intelligence, it begins with awareness. The law of modeling begins with awareness. The process of growing with the help of a mentor usually follows this pattern. It begins with awareness. You realize what you need help on, and that following yourself is not a viable option for effective growth. One of two things can happen when you become aware. You either swell up with pride and you're like, I don't need it. Or, person swells up with pride and he cannot bring himself to ask another person for advice. And that's a common reaction because we're human, right? We don't know, not all of us can say that we need help. Or you can humble yourself and say, I need help, and that'll lead you to greater knowledge. So which one are you going to be going forward in your career? Are you going to swell up with pride, or are you going to humble yourself? That's a question you all just have to ask yourself based on where you want to be, based on what you want to do in your future. Nobody is the whole chain. Each one of us is a link, but take away one of the links and the chain is broken. Nobody's a whole team. Each player has a position. Take away one of the players and you forfeit the game. Nobody is, in a symphony. If there's one, instrument missing, it doesn't sound the same. We're all a team. So you need someone and someone needs you. And the lesson of the law of modeling in John Maxwell's book is it's hard to improve when you have no one but yourself to follow. And that is the law of modeling. Good job, Jennifer. Thank you. Good job. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for coming to my class.
Do it all over again.
Do it all over again. Was it that good, Liz?
So Jen, are you still going through the process of what you did before, as far as needing mentoring? Do you feel like you still need that, or do you want to move up to start mentoring the other agents?
You know, that's a great question. I think both.
Okay.
You know, I would love to mentor other agents. You know, Sonia pushes me a lot.
Okay.
You know,
She pushes everybody.
You're right. Exactly. She's a great mentor to push you to your next level, right? That's why I'm up here. I was voluntold to be up here. So you're teaching the law of modeling on this day. I'm like, okay. You know, I think about that, you know, because we do need other mentors too, and depending on what we're going to do, you know. So sometimes I think about, is it time to get leadership coaching? Do I want to start a team? Am I going to, you know, mentor other agents? I think in some ways I do mentor some of the agents that are at our office. I inspire them, but nothing, you know, not officially like I have someone that I'm mentoring, but I think it's coming. I see it coming. Thank you. Thanks, James. Yeah, I think it's probably one of the next steps in growing my business.
Yeah.
Definitely so. Yeah, so, you know, like I was saying, when we want to talk about real estate and the numbers, like when I first started, my first year, I only did one deal. The next 3 years, I did anywhere from 10 to 14 deals. Actually, the next 6 years. For 6 years, I stayed at 10 to 14 deals. And that's when I was pretty much on my own, just at home. And then I came to RE/MAX and my numbers just kept growing, you know, they kept growing. Last year, you know, we did 26 deals. When I was plateaued for 6 years, you know, in between the 10 and 15 deals a year, which isn't bad, but, and, you know, again, it goes to show, what do we want to do? Is 5 to 6 deals a year okay for you, for someone? Is 10 deals, 12, one a month? You know, it really depends on yourself. You need to know yourself. That's why it's getting self-aware and being real with yourself. Like, is my business where I want it to be? Am I personally, you know, Anusha made me grow personally, which then in turn, I was able to have the confidence to know what I wanted next. Oh, okay, now I want, you know, now this is what I want. I want to buy a house. I want to make it an Airbnb. I want to get my broker's license. Now that I work side by side with Sonia, I do not want my own office. It is. I'll just stay right where I'm at. You know, it's a lot of work. You know, it's a lot of work, and it is putting your office and your people ahead of you a lot of times, and I see it every day. So, but yeah, that might be something in the future. Good. Definitely not my own office though. Right. Noted. So anyways, anybody else have anything to say? No? Well, thanks for coming. I hope you guys have a great day. See you. Oh, and then we have a 1 o'clock class online or at Ontario. We're going to be doing a live buyer's consultation, or role playing a live buyer's consultation. If any of you guys want to join that.
Perfect.
Hey, thank you.
How was the trip?